When I looked at the paper, it says you just had a heart attack. Your heart has its own pressure as well. It's called the arterial pressure of the heart. A healthy person, 25 to 35 is the range which is considered normal. What I was measuring at that time was 125, 130.
This is intense pressure. Okay.
You better not stop or get in the way.
Oh, nice,
because
doctor.
if you did,
yes,
she has 1 year to live. It happens to 1 in a million people. The variant that I had was even more rare than the standard.
Your husband's fighting with you to take you to the hospital?
Yes. And what I do is the next best thing. I Google it.
Of course. Yes. A web doctor. Yes. And what did Google tell you?
Google told me to go splash water on my face. Yeah, I always thought that it's something that medicines would fix. But there's a fool's hope, and I hold on to it.
Okay.
Right. We started with Viagra, yes.
Did your husband try to steal some?
I actually saved one for him.
So, he'd already been living with it for a number of years.
Yes. Which is very funny because eventually leads to death became like a running joke in the house. I'm talking about $1 million cap, yeah?
But it's 10,000 dirhams of 10,000.
It started with $10,000.
Oh.
Then the next one was you add 15,000 a month to it, so now it's 50,000 dirhams. Then the next one was I think that those were on 18,000. So it kept stacking. So this strange lady who I've never spoken with before calls me and says, "Hi, we found a pair of lungs for you. It's a perfect match. We need you to come right now."
Hi, Husena.
Hi, Amin.
How are you?
Not too bad. I finally get to come on your show, which is
true. We've known each other for a long time. Yes. So I will say formally, welcome to the Rice Pudding Project. I know you very well. We've known each other for over a decade. Right?
More,
yeah. So, yeah, we don't say it because we don't want to make ourselves out to be too old.
We're too young. We went to school together.
Yeah. Well, I mean, different countries, but online learning. Yes, exactly. But for the people at home, can you tell us what it is you do for a living?
So I fancy to call myself a producer.
You can call yourself a producer. You are a producer.
Producer, yes. It's just I still can't get over how fancy it makes someone sound, because the next question I get from people who don't know about films is, "Oh, you're very rich. How much money do you put in films every year?" And I'm like, no. I'm the one who asks people for discounts.
Yes, I'm the one who does the negotiations. Yes. I'm not the executive producer. Exactly. I'm the producer who does the work.
Exactly.
Yes, without the money.
Yeah,
so people who at home don't know, executive producer has the money, producer does the work.
Absolutely.
Technically. And then the line producer will tell you that they do the work and so on and so forth. How long have you been producing for?
I think it's been, over 15 years?
Okay, very nice.
As I said, I don't reveal my age, so it was child labor.
Yeah, it was child labor. Yeah. It was in primary school you started. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You they have child actors and you were a child producer.
Exactly.
There you go.
You know the ones, the Cookie Scout girls?
The Cookie Scout girls?
The Scout girls.
Yeah. Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts that sold the cookies. Yes, you were one of those. But
I was one of those, yes, exactly. So that's how I raised funds and produced funds.
And why did you get into production and film?
That's a fun question. So it's not something that I had given much thought to when I chose what I wanted to study in life.
Yeah.
For me, it was all about journalism and, getting to the bottom of things and speaking the truth and blah. Soon realized that all of that was pretty much staged and orchestrated, especially where I come from.
Okay.
And that sort of burst my bubble big time. And while I was doing that, I was lucky to meet a fantastic professor who used to teach us understanding cinema.
All right.
And she exposed us to some amazing filmmakers.
Okay.
Which I didn't know they existed before that.
All right.
And that changed.
Like directors and producers?
Directors, not producers as much, but Wonkar Bai, Johnny Godard, that sort of stuff, the artsy films.
Yeah.
That changed the way I looked at films completely, and it suddenly took a space between photography and journalism for me. So it was either this or that at that point.
Did you do photography when you were younger?
I did. And once I started watching these films, I was like, I want to do something like this. I was already writing poetry back then, and it was a very good segue to express yourself at the same time.
What got you into poetry?
Poetry itself, something that just happened. My dad writes poetry, so I just picked it up from him.
Did you have any poets that you look up to, or?
So there is this poet called Neil Hillman. He is in the US, and he actually I write with him in his writing circle.
Oh wow! Okay.
And he the way he looks at things, his perspective on things, and how he incorporates that into his poetry is something that I connect with a lot.
All right.
So from living poets, yes, him.
Okay.
And from like Sylvia Plath had a very big influence on me.
Okay. Doesn't she have a more dark kind of?
She does.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right.
My poetry is not
Is it
the
dark?
lightest. Yes, it is.
All right. Okay.
My poetry is more self-deprecating, reflective.
All right.
And it's interesting you asked that, because when I was diagnosed, poetry is something that helped me a lot to get through and process everything that was happening.
Okay, so for the viewers, let's say what it is you were diagnosed with.
Yes. Like, you've seen me, right? You've seen me on pets.
Yes.
You've seen me
moving around
and
running the show. Yes.
You've also seen how demanding it can be, and how
demanding, how demanding you are, or how demanding the work can be.
Like, it depends on
both
which side you are on, right?
Yes.
So if I'm working for you, I'm your best friend.
Yeah.
But no, what I mean is what production does to you in terms of your body, physically, and what it demands of you.
Yeah.
I think I was doing a fairly good job of it until the time I couldn't anymore. I just started realizing that my body was pushing itself.
Did you think it was just fatigue?
That's what I thought. So I used to think it was fatigue. It was, a lot hanging around a lot of smokers.
Yeah, the secondary smoke.
And that sort of thing.
When did this start? How many?
I think this started 2 or 3 years into moving to Dubai. So
which was
2008 is when I moved.
Okay, so in 2011 you started to feel.
Yes.
Okay.
And what happens is when you have like an episode of shortness of breath or something like that, you go to an ER, and the first thing, unfortunately, that ERs used to do, was asthma or bronchitis. And the easiest way to get you out of that situation is steroids. So you inhale steroids and it goes away. And then you feel you're better. And
you're muscly.
You're inhaling that. You're not digesting that.
Okay.
But it was a short-term solution.
And it helped?
It helped.
For how long?
It would go away until it came back again. And then the frequency of it coming back again increased.
Is it right to call them episodes? Is that right?
Episodes.
Okay, so how frequent were the episodes at the beginning?
In the beginning, it used to be once in 6 months.
Oh, okay, so it could be considered.
Yes.
All right.
And then there were so many factors you could pin it on.
Yeah.
So
dust, allergies. Okay, all right. And then it became, and this went on for like a year, 2 years?
It went on for almost 5-6 years. And
5-6 years. Every 6 months you'd have an episode?
Yes.
And when the episode, how bad was it? Like you couldn't breathe, or?
So it typically feels like all the air from your lungs has been sucked out. So you're very deflated.
Okay. And pain?
So it does. So the moment you don't have oxygen in your lungs, everything starts tightening and you start feeling that constriction right here. So it's usually in your upper chest.
Mm-hmm.
And you start wheezing. You start hearing the wheeze in your breathing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people actually describe it as breathing from a straw.
Okay.
Which is it's a very famous way of describing symptoms of the condition I had. And the thing is that just around 2016 was when I started doing a lot of desert shoots.
Yeah.
At the same time, I had bronchitis. Yes.
Yeah.
And summers, desert's not the best combination, right?
Yes. The heat is brutal.
Yeah. And that's when the bronchitis peaked a lot. And
but did you have bronchitis as well, or no?
No.
It wasn't, but that's what they thought.
Acute. It wasn't chronic. But around that time, they sort of flagged it as something that needed to be looked at.
Okay.
at the same time, I got pregnant around within a month of that.
Okay.
Which was, so one overlapped the other, and then, I had to stop taking the medication.
Yeah, because you're a child.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then they call it gestational asthma, which was asthma during pregnancy.
But how can you just asthma during pregnancy if you had it for years before?
So what I had years before was bronchitis and not asthma. Till date, I don't know the difference, to be very honest.
Okay.
I'm not going to pretend I know. But
Right.
when you say something is gestational, you assume that it goes away after pregnancy, right?
Yes.
Since, you've been through.
I wasn't pregnant, yes, but my wife was, yeah. But I like when people say we were pregnant.
Yeah, you were pregnant.
Yeah, I wasn't
Justifies
pregnant.
the
Yeah,
baby.
I mean, I was fat as hell, but I wasn't pregnant. Yeah, I wish it was the baby, but yeah.
Right. So it eased out after the pregnancy. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
So then I thought, okay, fine. Whatever, life goes on, and I'm perfectly fit. And that's when my career-wise, I was the most active after that. Within a year of giving birth, my films and.
This is now 2017. Okay.
But that's also the time when doctors introduced me to this beautiful apparatus, which is called an inhaler.
Okay, that's an inhaler.
That's an inhaler.
All right.
And the blue thing which...
Yeah, you pump it down. Yes.
I used to carry that with me everywhere. It's an equivalent of walking on crutches. You can walk, but you need that.
All the time. And how often did you have to use it?
So ideally, it used to be one canister for every 2 weeks.
And then you're using it every day?
Every day, yes.
How many times a day?
It was on a need basis.
So you were having episodes every day?
Yes. By then
So it went from 6 months, after 6 years, it was every day?
Yes. I also had a nebulizer at home, which was wild because that's not something you normally have in a home.
Yeah. I mean, and you used that as well daily?
Not daily, but whenever the episodes used to get really bad and, I would feel like I'm not being able to breathe, or the pain would get worse, I would use the nebulizer. See, at this point, till now, nobody has told me that I need care beyond this.
Yeah, this is just managing it.
Yes, exactly. Yes, just managing it.
Did you ask them if there a way to get rid of this, or to, because we're just managing now?
Yeah.
How do we cure it?
They give me more steroids. They gave me more inhalers, more steroids is what I got into. And it's funny because even when I was pregnant, nobody really did a deep dive into what's happening beyond the lungs, right?
Yeah.
Also, at one point when I was in shoots especially, I used to use the inhaler with every step I was walking. And I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying this.
So when you're outside, you're literally pumping.
Exactly. So if I have to run to something, I would have that in my hand and I would be running to it. I remember there's one instance when my son was in Bombay and he had an injury at night. He walked into something and he busted the bridge of his nose and he was bleeding a lot. I had to carry him and run for his life. And it was mother's instinct, right? I was really thinking...
The lioness takes over.
Right. Yeah. The only one thing that I grabbed when I was running out of the house was the inhaler. So it was like, I'm running and I'm using it just because I could not let my body give up. And I had my entire family running behind me, trying to stop me because I wasn't being rational about this.
Yeah.
So you imagine
shooting in the hospital
in the middle of the night in my pajamas,
an inhaler
with an inhaler and a bleeding child, and a family running behind me. So yeah, that was quite a picture.
Okay.
That's also when we started realizing, people in the family started realizing that this is not normal.
Mm-hmm.
I had a couple of trips that I took where I couldn't really enjoy the holiday because of the breathing stuff. I was in transit once from, I think we were going to Bali and we were at the Malaysian airport. I at one point felt I will not be able to make the connection because while I was on the travelator, I started feeling palpitations.
You weren't even moving. The travelator was moving.
Yes, exactly. I started feeling the palpitations, the shortness of breath. And at that point, for the first time, I started feeling like I'm going to pass out. So black spots in front of my eyes. And have you ever swooned? Do you know how it feels to swoon?
Swoon?
Yeah.
No, I don't even know what that is.
Just before you pass out, just before you faint. There's
yes.
one sense of you.
Yeah.
It's like a rush. You feel blood rushing to your face.
Yeah.
A slight surge of adrenaline before it drops.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
And you dropped.
I did not. Thankfully, I did not pass out. I made the connection. Again, against the better judgment, I let it pass, thinking it's something.
Do you think it was just asthma still?
One off, yeah.
Okay.
I came back. COVID happened soon after lockdown happened.
Yeah.
And this is when I was the most relaxed for a long time.
You didn't have to move.
Yes, I was at home. I was not working. There's no physical labor happening anymore.
Weren't you scared because you'll be exposed to COVID and how it would affect you? Did you get COVID?
Actually, I didn't.
And how did it affect you?
The lockdown?
No, how did you get COVID? When you got COVID, how did it
No,
make
I
you
did
feel?
not get COVID.
Oh, you did not?
COVID hit the world. So
you didn't get, okay.
The lockdown happened. And
yeah.
that's when, there was no work happening.
Yeah.
There were no shoots to go to. I'm sitting at home, chilling, eating my food. Ramadan, around the same time, I, in the middle of the night, I remember I'd woken up to pray and suddenly I just felt like everything's come to a standstill. I had palpitations, and palpitations I felt were here.
Yeah.
So it's almost like my heart is jumping out of my
2020, right?
Yeah, 2020. Hindsight.
Yeah.
It felt like everything does during a heart attack.
Okay.
And it was very scary. I mean, I can't tell you. Was
your heart also?
Yes. So it was the first time I'm feeling my heart really going boom, 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 boom.
It was racing and heavy.
Heavy. And, I could feel it pounding. Like I was wearing a necklace and that necklace was, moving along with it.
Yeah. Where was your husband?
My husband was with me at the time. He was by my side immediately. By tightness of the chest, shortness of breath, pain in the jaw, in the shoulders, in the arms. So all of it is pointing towards,
heart attack.
Some sort of an episode with the heart. And, you
rushed to hospital?
Lockdown, right?
Yeah.
So in my head, I'm like, is this bad enough to risk exposure? The answer is yes, but my brain is still convincing me, no.
So your husband's fighting with you to take you to the hospital?
Yes. And what I do is the next best thing. I Google it.
Of course. Yeah. Yes. A web doctor. Yes. And what did Google tell you?
Google told me to go splash water on my face.
Sorry, we shouldn't laugh, but like...
No.
Okay. And you listen to Google?
I tried to.
I'm sorry. So you're pain all over your body.
Yes.
Palpitations. Chest is throbbing, necklace is popping, heart is going, and Google says splash water on your face. So you're like,
yeah, let me go do it. No, but I got up. So I was lying on the couch. I got up from it. 5 steps into me trying to walk, I
collapse.
Thankfully Zen was there to hold me, but I swooned. He's like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I will get you the water here if you need.
Oh, he was like, okay, let me
let me
okay. All right.
And then something very dramatic happened. It was like if you've ever watched any Indian films, you'll know one.
Yeah.
My mom calls at that time because I think Zen must have secretly texted them that I'm not well. My mom calls me on video.
Oh. Okay.
I answer the call. I look at her face. I'm like, "Hi, mom." It just goes.
Yeah.
It just went away in a second.
Oh, you calmed down?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, it's the mom effect.
Okay.
I am fine.
And you didn't go to hospital?
I was okay. I mean,
wow.
The virus, COVID exposure. So
yes, when the splash of water and the phone call from the mom will save everything.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I wish things were
what the doctor prescribed. All right.
I didn't know what was going to hit me the next few months after. So
they got worse.
Yes. I went to bed. I took a nap. I woke up, and it was, I think, around because I hadn't slept the whole night. I think I woke up a little late, around noonish.
Yeah.
The moment I woke up, the very second, all of it began again. And that's when Zen's like, not saying, I'm not going to listen to anything. I'll physically lift you and take you to the ER if I have to.
And he took you to the...
Yes. We went there. I was chilling there. If you saw me, apart from the symptoms, I was fine.
Yeah.
And by the time I reached the ER, I was fine again.
Okay.
But then it's like, I'm not going to let you turn back. Now that we are here, so you're going to do, like, let's look at what's happening.
So you did the test.
So I meet the lady doctor, very sweet. She looks at me and she's like, oh, you're too young to be here for something like this. But let me run tests anyway. I suspect it could be acidity. And I'm like, wow.
Acidity.
Yes. Classic, right? Heartburn, acidity. Yeah. Anyway, they ran the tests.
Yeah.
And she comes back and she's like, what's going on with you? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, okay, when I see you, you look fine. You look normal.
But these tests, something is...
When I looked at the paper, it says you just had a heart attack. And
Oh.
I'm like, okay. Wow.
Okay, so we've cancelled the...
Yes. No heartburn anymore. You just had a heart attack. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, Nick, give me some sort of... back this up with something. Don't just come and declare I had like...
So she asked you what happened and you told her about the last few months or the years?
Yes. All of that happened. We went through a short history session of my lungs and she's like, look, I need to call the cardiologist. This is not something that I can decide on my own.
Yeah.
And most likely the cardiologist is going to ask you to do an angiogram.
That's when they put up the wrist, right?
Yeah, up the wrist. And it goes through your artery, not your veins, which is very painful. Fish.
Yeah.
They put a catheter through your main central line that goes into the heart, does with a little camera, sees what's happening, and they come back and tell you whether it's good. At the same time, what was happening?
Are you asleep when this happens?
Sorry?
Are you asleep when this happens?
Yeah, asleep, I think. Or mildly. I think because I've still not done an angiogram.
Oh, you didn't do it?
I did not.
Oh, okay. But why'd you make me go through all the pain of suffering of hearing about it?
Because I want to tell you why I did not do it.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have done that either.
But what I did agree to do was a CT scan of the heart.
Okay.
Which I didn't even know something like that.
Okay, what is that? What's the difference?
So they inject a dye.
Like an MRI machine.
Like an MRI machine. But it's called a CT angio.
Yeah.
It does the same thing as an angiogram does, but less detail.
Yeah.
So it gives an overview of what your heart is going through, and if there's anything that needs to be flagged, they do that. The thing with angio is that they put you in the ICU for 2 days.
Okay.
Because they've entered your artery and they just want to make sure you're not throwing up an embolism or you're not bleeding out.
Rightfully so.
Right?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, she insisted on giving me blood thinners for that.
Okay.
Even before I consented to not doing it.
Okay.
Doctor comes, hilarious guy, the cardio. He looks at me and he's like, I need to do an angiogram. And I'm like, but I'm not doing it. And he's like, yeah, but I cannot tell you what's happening till the CT is not telling me enough. And I'm like, I'm not doing it. Because, and I also resisted because doctors in India simultaneously were looking at my reports as they kept coming in. And they were like, it's not as bad as it looks.
But they're not seeing
she doesn't need an angio again.
But the doctor in front of you.
Exactly.
Okay, but you're listening to the one...
Yes, the ones who are saying not to do it. I'm on team not to do it. Yes.
Okay.
I signed a waiver.
Doesn't sound logical, huh?
I know it doesn't.
Okay.
And trust me, when you're in situations like that, right, logic sometimes goes for a walk.
Yeah, I know, but like the doctor's here telling you, I see you, I need you to... Okay,
but
anyway.
Also, this just reflects on how much the doctors here also allow you to think for yourself.
Yeah.
Till you reach, a conclusion that is convincing enough for you to go ahead with it. So, and I'll tell you why I'm saying this.
Yeah.
I go home, I sign a waiver saying that if I die on the basement, it's my fault. Like it would matter if I die.
And your husband now is saying you...
My husband's just shaking his head. I think he was questioning his life choices.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah, I mean, women are in control, so that's another example. All right, fine.
Anyway, I go home, I'm chilling, I'm consulting with a lot of people at this point.
Yeah.
Doctors in the UK, doctors in the US, doctors in India, they're all looking at my files. I get a call from the hospital the next morning, and a very nice person spoke with me saying that I understand that what you went through was extremely difficult and not easy to process, and you may have got nervous in the moment, but I just called to tell you that what you went through is not normal, and you need to get looked at. It doesn't matter whether you come back to us or you go to another cardiologist or you go back to your home country. It doesn't matter to us, but we need you to go somewhere at least. Okay, and that sort of, put me at ease. I took a follow-up appointment with the same guy. I see him a week later, and he recognizes me off the bat, right? And this is all through a mask, which makes it funnier because you're wearing a face mask and people are recognizing you.
Well, did you have the purple hair?
No, I did not.
Okay, because that's,
And I know, that would make sense.
Looks very nice, but it's not so traditional, so like he recognized you. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so we walked into his office, and while we were walking, he's like, "Listen, don't worry, you did not have a heart attack." And I'm like, "And you're basing that off just looking at my eyes?" Like,
no, because you'd be dead if you had a heart attack. Like what?
It's like, yeah, you wouldn't be walking if you were walking with that much ease after 7 days of this happening. You're fine, and trust me, if I had any doubt of the scale at which this may have happened, I wouldn't have let you leave, no matter what you said. So I would have fought you.
Okay, very nice. I like this doctor. I like this doctor.
Emirati guy, very,
Nice.
very chill, has a sense of humor. Anyway, so he looked at me and he's like, you know what, let's do one thing. Let's take you to a brain doctor also. Like, let's take you to a psychiatrist.
Oh.
Maybe it's the stress of your life and the stress of your job.
Okay, so he knows what production's like.
He went through, he did a deep dive with me on everything. And then he's like, possibly all you need is a happy pill and you'll be okay.
Happy pill.
That's what he called them. So I'm like, okay.
All right.
Yeah, sure. Bring the happiness.
Yes, why not? If that's going to solve it, okay.
Exactly. He also made me meet the pulmonologist and...
What's a pulmonologist?
The guys who look at the lungs.
Oh, this guy is the business.
Yes.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
Yes.
What he also did was he asked the radiologist to look at the CT again.
Okay.
And in the CT, they found out, like, he went down himself to look at the CT with the guy. And they realized that they found some shadows in my lungs, which indicated the presence of some little level of scarring.
Okay.
So
scarring in your lungs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when they realized that something needs to change. Like, they need to change the approach on things. And he booked me for a stress test, which is standard of care for anything heart related.
Like treadmill running.
Yes.
And meanwhile, you're passing out on a.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would love to know how this works.
Yes. Stress test followed by an echo test.
Are you allowed to use an inhaler on the stress
No,
test?
you're not.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. I was just wondering.
They ask you to carry one anyway, but you're not allowed to use anything before the test.
How long did you last on the stress test?
So I'll tell you about that. Usually, stress test first, echo later is the sequence in which they do it. But that day, the clinic was busy of some sort, so it was echo first, stress test later. I did the echo.
They said you don't need a stress test.
Yes. So for your viewers, an echo is an ultrasound of the heart, right? So there's this technician sitting next to me. She's looking at my heart and suddenly looks at me and she's like, so your XYZ level was high, yeah? And I'm like, yes, it was. And she's like, and the other ABC level was high as well. And I'm like, yes, it was. Why are you asking me these questions? And she's like, don't worry, the doctor will speak with you. I'm like, okay.
I love that.
Yeah, doctor will speak with you.
She's like, something's wrong. Yeah.
I go to the stress test room. They hook you up with a lot of ECG leads and stuff to see what's happening with your heart while you're running on the treadmill. I'm about to begin. Doctor comes in again very dramatically through the door, like literally throws the door open and he's like, stop the press, stop everything right now. She cannot do this test. And I'm like, okay, what's happening? And
This is the same one who wanted to do the angio?
Yes.
Okay.
He's like, take a seat. And I'm like, okay, this does not bode well. What happened to the happy pill?
There's no happy pill now.
He told me that my heart was in big trouble.
Your heart was in big trouble.
And I was like, okay, tell me more. So the heart has the left and the right sides, right? The right side of my heart was very enlarged, according to what he said.
Okay.
And so just like your body has blood pressure, your heart has its own pressure as well. It's called the arterial pressure of the heart. So a normal human being, healthy person, 25 to 35 is the range which is considered normal. What I was measuring at that time was 125, 130.
This is intense pressure.
Intense.
Is the right side to do with the lungs?
The right side is to do with the lungs because the right side is where the blood goes in to the lungs. It was brutal to hear that because
How did he slow this down? It was blood thinners.
You would think, right?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. But I was firstly trying to understand whatever the hell is happening. Sorry for my language, but I did not know what.
But this is not like to do with cholesterol or fat or
That's
like.
What I was thinking.
Yeah.
Like maybe have a blockage somewhere.
Yeah.
I was
like unhealthy because you went unhealthy. I remember, like you went. It's not like you were like my size when you were like,
But I was pretty healthy, but not.
He's had a baby and things.
Exactly,
It wasn't. Yeah.
So it wasn't like my mind. It was not computing this properly, and I was still very confused. What is the connection between the breathing and the heart and all of that?
Yeah.
So what he basically explained to me was because the pressure was so insanely high, it could explode almost, like not literally, but figuratively, systems can shut down because of the domino effect it can cause.
Okay.
So essentially, my heart was failing.
Your heart was failing.
My heart was failing.
That's not going to calm you down.
Yeah, obviously.
So the heart's going to even go. If I'm hearing that, I'm going to even more.
I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, I'm going. Yeah.
So he shipped me to the Pulmo's office.
Yeah.
And they started having a conversation, and I kept hearing this word hypertension. I'm like,
but that's blood pressure.
Okay, I have blood pressure.
Yeah.
And I was relieved. I was like, okay,
so give me the pill. Give me the pill for that blood pressure.
And in my head, I'm like, damn, I'll need to take this all my life. That's where my thought went because that's what I've heard, right?
Yeah.
With the moment you start blood pressure pills, you cannot stop them. And I was a little bummed about that. And this guy's like, don't worry, let the pulmonologist speak with you.
Yeah.
And then there was like a barrage of questions that made no sense to me.
Yeah.
Like how well do I sleep? How tired do I feel in the morning? Do I feel like I've run a marathon the night before? Do I feel like I've slept at all? Do I have pain in the limbs, in my back and my shoulders? And I kept saying yes to all of it, which made me even more worried because these are not things you pay attention to.
Yeah.
And the fact that a doctor is asking me with such seriousness after being told that my heart was failing or something. It turns out that he said I possibly had sleep apnea as well, which I did not know about.
You know what it was? Your husband doesn't snore at night and stuff?
The only person who ever told me that I snore is
your son?
Friend, my colleague who I used to share hotel rooms with on shoots.
Okay. Your husband never used to tell you?
I think he was just too polite.
Okay.
Or maybe
I know sleep apnea, if you don't have that's dangerous. That can cause
so that can obstruct your entire airways. But he's like, whatever's happening with you, sleep apnea causes this, but it doesn't seem like this is the only cause. It seems like sleep apnea is happening because of this. It's the other way.
Okay, that's...
And he's like, we need to go through some tests and it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
You will have to go through, we'll have to go to this place called Cleveland Clinic in Abu Dhabi. It was the first time I heard of it in the context that I need to go there.
Yeah.
It was always a place like American Hospital that existed. Which insurance doesn't cover, and you don't head in that direction even if you're dying.
Okay.
Anyway, he said there's only one specialist who can look at you, and he's based there, and we need to get you there.
This is 2022.
2020.
2020 still thing. Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, and I'm can I wait for a month? Can I wait?
You asked to stay for a month.
Ramadan is over, and he's like, no, Tim, you cannot.
Let's wait.
You will have to go now. This is serious business. And he's like, I would have shipped you in an ambulance right now if I could, but it doesn't work that way right now because Cleveland was a COVID hospital at the time, which means COVID hospital at the time meant that everything that was non-essential was shut down.
Yeah.
So anything elective took a lot of time to get appointments with. And I'm not joking. I had to jump through the hoops to get an appointment with this guy. It literally took me 25 days. So I did see him after a month.
Really?
Yes. And
because it was COVID.
Because it was COVID, and he did not show up on the system. So every time I would call the bot line, they could not find him available for any appointments because all his appointments were now offline.
Yeah.
The only way I got through him is by getting through the senior management of Cleveland through my ex-boss's assistant. Like it was some crazy connection that I had to make to get through there. I met the guy very sweet. One of the best things that have happened to me my entire life is this doctor.
Okay.
His name is Dr. Hani Sabur.
Okay,
and
it's amazing.
He's God sent. So doctors treat. Some doctors heal. He's one of those.
He heals.
And he does what it takes. He doesn't work within the constraints of time and limits and what he's getting paid for.
He does what's needed.
Yeah, he does what's needed. And I know this has gone on for a while, but it's
important to talk about. You okay?
Yeah, I am. Pulmonary hypertension is what they called it. Yeah,
that's what he said that you had to do it.
This is what the doctor in Mediclinic told me.
Yeah.
And these 25 days before I saw Dr. Hani, I would try and Google what pulmonary hypertension meant.
Again, back to Google.
Because what else would I be doing?
There's no ChatGPT then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
By then,
this is making
me like question a lot of stuff because by this time, remember, I had all those doctors who were looking into things. They're still looking into things, and now there's a sense of excitement in the air because.
What excitement?
It's something new, right?
Yeah, but I don't care. This is my life. I don't care if you're getting excited.
It's the heart. Which became eventually the story of my life for the next 3 years, because every time people would hear what condition I had, there would be palpable excitement in the room.
From the doctors?
From the doctors, yes.
Like with fresh meat?
Yes, because it's a very rare condition.
Okay.
It happens to 1 in a million people. The variant that I had was even more rare than the standard. So I had a genetic mutation, which was a very aggressive one. So it sort of, it's sort of updated its software depending on what medication I was taking.
Oh, wow.
So it kept getting aggressive.
More stronger and stronger and adapting.
Every single therapy. Every time I would Google pulmonary hypertension, it would talk about, it's chronic, it's degenerative, it's progressive. These things can be done.
Can it spread?
It's not contagious.
It's not. No, I mean, can it spread in your body to anything else? No. It stays in the lungs.
It stays in the lungs.
But it was affecting the heart.
It was affecting the heart.
Okay.
And every single search ended with, it eventually leads to death.
Did it say how long?
It did, but I tried not to look at those numbers.
But what was it?
A year to 5 years.
And you'd already been you'd already been living with it for a number of years.
Yes. Which is very funny because eventually leads to death became like a running joke in the house. Because
with who? With your son and your husband?
Yeah. Not my son as much.
Yeah. But you and that husband like, oh.
Because everything eventually leads to death, right?
Yeah, but like, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. But like, okay, you had okay, now I understand the poetry being dark. Okay. All right.
But trust me, humor is what has saved me. Being the ability to be able to laugh at
I knew
stuff.
you during this time. I didn't see you dwelling on it, pity partying and anything like that. Like, I didn't know. Like, you didn't, like, it wasn't like you were waving the flag and be like, hey, I have this and I'm dying. You never played that card.
No.
I would have played that shit like nobody's business.
Make dead people jokes all the time to a point where people got sick of me.
I would have been playing that card. I'm telling you, getting special treatment. Oh, 100%. If I get a flu, I'm like, like, So they met with Dr. Hani.
I met with Dr. Hani. Yeah. He started this treatment.
Mm-hmm.
When he very solution oriented guy, right? So when I met him, I tried to ask all those serious questions, like, what do I have and what am I suffering with? And it's like, all that's fine. You need to start this medication.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the problems later.
Yeah.
And he gave me a step-by-step thing of, okay, if this doesn't work, we have something else. If that doesn't work, we have something else.
Okay.
And if nothing else works, the worst scenario is transplant. And we all went, ha ha ha, that's never going to happen.
Why? Because it's so great to find a transplant.
No, because it was just surreal to hear that I would need a transplant ever.
You didn't think it was a transplant that you could?
Yeah, I always thought that it's something that medicines would fix.
Oh, okay. All right.
And
but was it is it curable?
It's not.
Okay.
But there's a fool's hope, and I hold on to it.
Okay. All right.
We started with Viagra.
Yes.
Which is the original use of that
blood
drug.
Pressure. Yes.
For the heart. And again, jokes were abundant. It was
in the house.
Just yes.
Did your husband try to steal some?
I actually saved one for him, but his badge of honor is that I never needed to use it.
You did. I can't believe that. You saved him a pill.
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness. Were you really taking Viagra?
I was taking Cialis, which is Viagra's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Good.
What dosage? Like how often?
It was a high dose. And I'm like, why is it not doing anything for me? And
what would you do for you? It's initially a blood pressure medicine. So it was helping you.
Yes, it was. And Viagra is just baseline therapy, right? It is.
Yeah.
You use that to keep going till your actual medications come.
Oh, this isn't the main one.
This isn't the main one.
Okay.
And what followed, right? I mean, for the next 2 years was my body went through things I never imagined could be possible. The medication that you need to take for pulmonary hypertension is basically there are 3 to 4 pathways that you can attack the situation through. Most of them go through your blood vessels, which means expanding your blood vessels as they go. Your body cannot isolate. They dilate your blood vessels.
Okay.
So your body cannot isolate therapy, right? If you take a pill for something, it affects your whole body.
Yeah.
So if I'm taking a pill for blood to increase its flow,
it's affects your liver as well.
It goes through everything.
Yeah.
And when you have too much blood in your head, you get headaches of the worst kind. If you either remove the oxygen or put in too much oxygen in your head, you're going to get like the most torturous headaches ever. And then it was a whole series of things that used to happen. So my gut got affected. I used to have these horrible headaches for days that would not stop.
And you can't take anything for that?
Nausea, just pain in the body, like pain I had not experienced before.
This is because of the lack of oxygen around the body it's hurting, or?
It is. I still cannot figure what the pain had to do with anything, but it's pain in the limbs, it's pain in the jaw. I used to get locked jaws. I used to not be able to swallow food because everything would get constricted at one point, which is a very common thing with these meds.
Yeah.
So much so that these meds are known to for people to not be able to tolerate them beyond a point, mainly for the side effects. So you take more medicines for the side effects than you do for the condition itself.
Insane.
Yeah.
And how long were you on these meds for?
I was on these meds for 3 years.
3 years?
And not the same kind, yeah? So they kept graduating in more intense stuff.
Okay. But you... Okay. Wow.
So when we started, my doctor gave us a letter say that we need to submit this to the insurance company stat. And we were on the way back. And I just happened to open the letter at that time to read what it said, because obviously it said...
Say it, it's okay.
Yeah, I was nosy.
Yeah.
It's about me. I need to know.
Okay.
In situations like
I just
this,
want to know that part where you read the letter and then you asked Google.
I did not ask Google for this one.
Okay.
I
read the letter say?
It told the insurance company that this person needs these XYZ medications immediately. Okay. You better not stop or get in the way.
Oh, nice, doctor.
Because if you did,
yes,
she has 1 year to live. And this is when we were returning back from Abu Dhabi, and I'm like, and please, can you stop the car somewhere? If I was a smoking person, I would ask for a smoke, but I don't know what to do. I need air. I need something. I need to get out of this car. I need to scream somewhere.
1 year.
Yeah, we both were just looking at each other.
When you hear that you have 1 year, if you don't get the meds,
Yes.
Besides wanting to scream, how do you reflect on that? Because you're a mum now, right? Your child is...
And my child wasn't with me at the time. He was in India.
Yeah.
He stuck in the lockdown.
He was how old?
He was 4 at the time.
Okay.
That's terrible. I made a bucket list.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. What was something on the bucket list?
I wanted to, I don't know why, I wanted to visit Peru for some reason.
Peru. Machu Picchu.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. To climb up those steps. Like, okay, that's awesome.
It was on it.
Okay.
And, not just like, I wanted to make a film.
Okay. You're a producer and you want to make a film?
I produce, I don't direct. I wanted
Oh, you want to direct the film.
not
Okay.
produce.
All right. Okay.
No.
And how many things on that bucket list?
It was work in progress. But I couldn't tell anyone about it because they would get mad that I'm thinking about bucket lists. So this was just between my husband and me. We kept it.
How did he feel? Because his...
No, I don't know, at least on the outside, he was very pragmatic about it. And he's like, we do what we can. And in the meantime, you do whatever you want to do in life. Like,
that's beautiful. He's supportive.
Go do stuff.
Okay.
As much as we can do, we do.
Yeah.
I wanted to be in Europe for a year at least by myself, and then I realized if I go for a year, then it wasn't meant.
You have a year.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right.
So that was out of the window. But more than anything else, I wanted to be with my son. Like, I had a very immediate need to be with him.
And then how long did you have to wait to see him?
He came to me in August. So I was diagnosed in April.
Yeah.
Came to me in August.
Amazing.
And this is also around the same time that I lost my bunny of 9 years. So it was tough. Don't make any bunny jokes. IPL was happening in Dubai, and there was a corridor that opened between India and Dubai, and that's how my son and my family came. So imagine this 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah.
Mom, dad, son. All with us.
Yeah.
And then brother and his wife also with us. Because
they want to be with you, or they want to escape?
Wanted to be with me because...
Did you want them to be with you?
Of course I did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I love chaos. I thrive.
I would have been like, no.
Go away. I don't think I can say the same about my husband.
Exactly.
But it was fun. I think it was one of the most fun periods of my life. I had them with me for almost a year.
A year?
Mm-hmm. Because
you took that when you saw that book, when you saw that letter, you're like, okay, yeah, they're going to be with me.
Yes.
Did they know?
They knew. They were processing the seriousness of what just happened.
Okay, but you got the meds. You were getting the meds.
I was getting the meds, but I mean, just to put things in perspective, the cost, the raw cost of the medication.
Yeah.
It began with 35,000 dirhams a month.
$10,000 a month.
Yes, $10,000 a month.
But medical didn't cover it?
Medical covered it, and then I was on a patient assistance program, which had done like an entire financial evaluation with me, which was more brutal than even a financial eval that you get done for like a house loan. It was crazy, just the amount of stuff that they asked me, and where I spent what and why, that I had to answer them, which is fun times. Anyway, they promised to cover meds once my insurance stops paying for it, or after I max out.
Yeah. And how long did the insurance pay for?
Have you ever thought of maxing out your policy? Just a question.
No, I didn't never think that's even possible. I thought, why am I paying insurance then?
Yes.
So I'm paying insurance, and there's a maximum that they'll pay?
So if you reach the max, they stop. they stopped covering stuff.
Okay.
That's when they said we will step in and pay for stuff. And I was like, I'm never going to reach that day, right? I reached it, I think, twice or thrice. 2 or 3 years, yeah.
So every year resets, and they paid.
Yeah, and I'm talking about $1 million cap, yeah.
But it's 10,000 dirhams. 10,000.
It started with $10,000.
Oh.
And then the next one was you add 15,000 a month to it, so now it's 50,000 dirhams. Then the next one was I think that those were on 18,000. So it kept stacking. So from 35 to 50 to 65, and then came like the last one is still amazes me. I had to start a medication which was a liquid medication going through the body, rolling the body through. No, not IV, subcutaneously. So have you seen those insulin pumps before those Empics and the Mounjaros came in the market?
Oh, yeah.
You attached it to the arm or to the tummy, and there was like a tube.
Oh, okay.
And that tube is attached to a pump.
Yeah.
Inside the pump is a syringe.
Yeah.
The medicine keeps going in like little doses, micro doses, into your body. So through your skin, through the fat, through the muscle, whatever, it enters your bloodstream. And that's how it's absorbed in the body.
Okay.
The reason why you do that is that it gives you a continuous supply of
For how long?
It was lifetime.
No, but I mean, like, it's connected to you.
Yes.
And how long is it connected to you?
Always.
What? You're walking around with it?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I have been on shoots with that and stuff. So
yeah, that's what I'm trying to remember. Like, I did not see you going through this
because it was all. I mean, you can't see it.
Yeah. So it's underneath the jacket.
Seal, yeah. Very easy to conceal.
And that was cost how much?
That was 125,000 dirhams a month.
How many months were you in that for?
I was on that for at least a year, I think.
So that's like $40,000 a month free.
Plus the other stuff, yes.
Oh, you think the other ones as well?
Yeah. So it was around 210,000. It was what I calculated last.
A month? So $70,000.
Now, if I have that $1 million cap or $2 million cap, it's not very difficult to reach it now, is it? Because I'm also going to hospitals. I'm also doing like 100 tests a month.
And this was for 2-3 years?
This was for 3 years, yes.
Okay.
It was, I felt at one point I needed a personal assistant just to manage stuff for me. Like stupid things. Like I had to save the packs, the used packs of the medication.
Why?
To show the patient's assistants that I have used all of these and now have run out. So now you give me more.
Why? They think you're selling it in the black market or something?
Possibly.
Ah, really?
Because they're so expensive. I wouldn't be surprised if
they think you're dying. Like, or you're, if you don't have the medicine, you're going to die. People are going to...
let me go sell it.
Okay.
It's funny because whenever I used to go to India, right, I used to carry a bag with me, like a carry-on, which was only meds, full of meds.
Yeah.
Like almost like I was smuggling it.
Yeah.
And I would have to go through like this whole thing of, why am I fit to fly, blah, blah, blah. Customs would stop me always to figure what is it in there because... different things, right? Tubes and the syringes and. So,
at what stage did you go on the? At what stage did you say that I have to go on the list?
So the moment you start this subcutaneous plug is when you are considered for not eligible but considered for transplant.
Okay,
you're transplant worthy when you get on the drug.
What's the difference between being considered and eligible?
To be eligible, you need to qualify certain parameters, which ranges from how you're doing physiologically, how you're doing mentally, how you're doing in terms of they even look at stuff like a support system and how you will cope after. But more importantly, how your body is doing. So what stage you're at, what kind of end stage you're at.
Yeah.
So there are different steps to end stage as well.
Okay.
Do I need oxygen? Can I move around? If I can, why is it that I need it? And so my doctor had to go to bat for me because.
So then you were on this medicine for 3 years?
The sub-Q was 1 year only.
Oh, 1 year.
The others were.
So 1 year and then you were considered to be on the list?
Yes.
And then they start doing the test for eligibility or checking eligibility?
Yes. So there's a whole workup that you go through.
Yeah.
And the workup is intense.
Yeah.
It's so intense that you have to be admitted in the hospital
For how long?
for 15 days in India.
15 days of tests and check-in.
And there was like a proper timetable to it, yeah. I used to get schedules per day.
Okay. But then your transplant wasn't in India, though?
It was initially supposed to be because there was no thoracic surgeon here.
Okay.
And that was another round of hoops had to jump.
Okay. In India?
Yes. There was a little bit of disagreement, if I may say so, on what kind of transplant I need. Because Indian doctors came back with, I need heart and lung both. Which scared.
Can you do those separately?
No, you have to do it together. If you're doing it, you have to do it together.
So you have to find 2 donors?
No, so one donor.
Same heart.
Same unit comes to you. But that is like...
Okay.
And I was doing the math and I'm like, okay, 30% of my body will not be mine.
Okay, I like the way you put a joke on it and spin on it. Okay. But then you didn't have to do that.
My doctor, Dr. Hani, so he was like...
This guy sounds like a legend.
He is.
Okay.
You should meet him.
I would want to and speak to him, yeah. Okay.
He's fantastic.
So he said...
sorry, can I check something? Can I plug in something?
Yeah, plug. He deserves it.
He has rewritten the guidelines for pulmonary hypertension for the UAE. So he was the guy who came in and went to SKMC from Kuwait. So he came from Kuwait, he came here. He is the one who set up the systems for pulmonary hypertension to begin with. Yeah. Before that, people were just on Viagra most of the times. Yeah. And he's a doctor who believes in aggressive therapy. Yeah. Go aggressive first, stop it, nip it at the bud, and then, taper down when you have to. Yeah. Or not the other way around. Yeah. And a lot of people find that a bit confusing, but I get the logic. Anyway, he has rewritten the guidelines for pulmonary hypertension completely to fit GCs, the Middle East and UAE especially. Yeah. So now doctors know exactly what needs to be done. And those guidelines are being educated across the board.
Amazing.
Because of which he now gets almost 35 new patients a month.
For transplant?
For pulmonary hypertension.
Okay.
As opposed to earlier getting maybe 1 or 2 a month.
Oh, so they can see it earlier, so you don't have to go through this misdiagnosis of asthma and things like that.
So
and
if someone goes in with a breathing issue, they will look into the heart if they're following this guideline.
Okay.
And the moment you do that, it's a very clear picture. It's just a matter of doing that.
They're like, okay, so now they can see.
Exactly.
They know what they're looking for.
And they know where to send them.
So this saves lives.
It does, absolutely.
Okay. And then they can catch it early and possibly fix it.
Or it doesn't have a cure. It's not reversible yet.
But
we can stop it. You can stem it. And
okay. It won't be so aggressive maybe or something. Okay.
It won't reach those stages. And also you can stop it at a sustainable stage where you're not draining the bank. Yeah. And trying to stay alive.
Okay. So now you moved away from India and you came not to do a transplant in India and you came
We were still debating on whether my heart needed a transplant or not. Yeah. Dr. Hani is like, I'm not going to let anyone touch your heart till I'm convinced your heart needs it. Okay. His logic was, if you came to me without the lung problem, just with the heart that you currently have, I would tell you ways of fixing it.
The heart,
I would not tell you take it out and put another one in.
Yeah. The extreme.
So, you don't have a coronary heart disease or you don't have congenital issues. Your heart is not working because your lungs are not being able to pump the blood. Just so for years, because we didn't speak about this, pulmonary hypertension means your pulmonary artery reforms itself. It remodels itself. Yeah. So a normal person's artery is like this. Yeah. And the blood goes in through straight. Yeah. People with PH have, so if you see the lining inside, it's jagged. Yeah. And it's tortuous. Yeah. So the blood that's going in it's not easy. For what the heart does is pushes it harder.
Okay. Because of the higher pressure.
Yes. Because of which the pressure increases. Yeah. And also because the backlog is increasing so much, the heart starts expanding like a balloon. Yeah. And balloons pop, right? Yes. So you lose the elasticity of the musculature of the heart after a point. Also, because there's not enough blood going in the lungs, the entire the system, the blood vessels in the lungs, they all eventually get tortuous
and strained.
So so lung function is fine, but there's not enough oxygen that's being released into your body.
Okay. All right.
And it's very contradictory.
Okay.
Because one of the most common questions I used to get was, why do you see a heart doctor if your lungs are bad?
Yeah.
Right? So
I understand.
And also, why are you not seeing the heart doctor anymore? Is your heart okay? So he fought for this. He redid all the tests again in Dubai just to make sure.
Yeah.
And he got, I think, almost all the HODs on board to run the tests. Yeah, whoever was involved in the whole lung.
And then when they decided that, then you were on the list?
There was no doctor here yet. I was still considering India. His battle was fighting not get the heart.
Okay.
But then one day he calls me and he's like, listen, I don't know who's been praying for you guys, but we now have a thoracic surgeon in UAE.
Amazing.
In Abu Dhabi, who can now do your transplants. You don't need let's start the workup now. My brain did not want the transplant still.
All right. You thought that the Viagra was going to be okay.
Viagra was out of the picture.
It was out of the picture. Okay, no more Viagra. Okay.
But in my head, I was like, no, you know what? Oh, sorry, I can beat this. I am indestructible. So,
okay.
Yeah, I can get this. I even applied to Germany for a clinical trial. There was this miracle drug that was being tested. And there were reports that whoever was on this drug has actually been successful in reversing the condition.
Okay.
So I had like this very nice castle I built in my head where I go to this place, get the clinical trials, be on the right side of it. Was a blind study, so not on the placebo, but get the drug, and then it reverses and life is back to normal. They rejected me twice.
Okay.
Because I was too good.
Okay. You weren't severe yet.
Yes. Okay. But I was bad enough to get a transplant.
Okay. So were you willing to wait until you get worse to do the clinical study?
By that time, the study would be over.
Okay.
So, or I would not be alive. So it was either or.
Okay. So when did you decide I need to do the transplant?
Around that time, I think when Dr. battered that in my head. And he's like, you can keep running from this, but you can't escape it. You have to.
And your husband couldn't persuade you?
No, nobody could at that point.
Okay.
And then I just,
how long did you have to wait?
Had a little, I went on a little pilgrimage.
Okay.
Of my own, and I reflected.
Solo?
No, with my mom. My mom was attached to my hip by this point.
Yes.
And reflected on stuff. And then what was most important for me was to be present for Adam, my son.
Yeah.
And for me to be able to do that, I needed to be functional. And to be functional, I needed to make tough choices, which I finally relented to.
Okay.
And I was still fighting it on the day. So
on the day of the surgery?
Yes. So I was at Dr. Hani's clinic for my routine tests.
Yeah.
He gets a call from someone and suddenly he looks at me and he's like, Husena, congratulations. And I'm like, for what? He's like, you've been selected. Like, they find you eligible for the transplant. And I'm like, oh. He's like, what do you mean?
So there's a transplant. There's a lung that matches.
I was just accepted into the program. And he's like, don't worry, you have a week. Don't freak out on me right now.
You have a week for what?
To decide whether I want to be on the list.
All right.
So I'm like, okay, have a week. I'm chill. I'm downstairs about to get a coffee. I get a call from the transplant physician, the guy I'm seeing now, Dr. Said. And he is like, Husena, are you still in the hospital? I heard you were here for some tests. And I'm like, yes, I am. He's like, do you mind dropping by at the labs for something? I just need to add one more test. And that was very common, right? Yeah. So doctors would call me any moment and say, can you go here or wherever to add some tests? I went there. I finished the tests. He called me again. He's like, are you done? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay, now I can tell you. There's a pair of lungs that you match with. And it's a great match. And we think, you'd benefit from it. We would like to offer them to you. Let us know what you think. You don't have to answer right now. You can take some time and...
How much time can you take?
You can, so you could take up to 24 hours.
Okay. How long did you take?
I've
50 hours and
I've taken out. I was with my head of production at that point.
Yeah.
She had come with me to the hospital. So people used to take turns to come with me to the hospital. Okay. And what do I do next? I go to set because they're shooting in Abu Dhabi. And I'm like, I need to go to set because I don't know if I'll ever be on a shoot for a very long time.
Okay.
So I went to set and I met people, and someone posts a story on Instagram, and that's when shit breaks loose because people are calling me, screaming at me because why are you on a set
that you're on set.
risking
Okay.
infection amongst 100 people?
Yeah.
Can you leave right now and come back?
Okay.
I went home, I start packing bags, I decide I'll do it.
Make it.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
Very brave of me. Unpacking my bags, I get a call from the transplant coordinator saying the person who was supposed to give me the lungs has been detected with COVID. So we can't do it.
Okay.
I was so happy and relieved.
You just didn't want to do it.
I just didn't want to do it. I was trying to escape from it in any way possible. A week later, it was Diwali. It was the 25th of October, 24th of October, actually. I was getting ready for a Diwali party for office. I get a call from someone. So every time I would see Cleveland Clinic flashing on the phone, I would answer it no matter what I was doing. So I was in the shower at that time. I answered. This strange lady who I've never spoken with before calls me and says, "Hi, we found a pair of lungs for you. It's a perfect match. We need you to come right now. The surgery is tomorrow."
You're like, I have a party.
Sorry, what? Like, who? Firstly, who are you? And secondly, what do you mean tomorrow morning? Like, I was promised I want my 24 hours. I was promised 24 hours, right? She's like, I don't know about that. I was just asked to call you and let you know. You can speak with the doctor if you have any questions. I'm like, okay. But can I come later in the night? No, you have to come now.
Then you went.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't go for the Diwali thing because I was panicking and I was hyperventilating and I was calling Dr. Hani and telling him I don't want to do it. And he's like, can you please repeat those words because that does not make sense to me.
Yeah. He said like life-saving.
And he's like, make this make sense because last week you said yes. I was like, because I was just processing information at that time that, I had just heard I was eligible and I had said yes. And this week I feel like I want to wait a little more. And he's like, for what?
For another lungs?
Yeah, what do you want to wait for? Like, you want to get worse? You don't want to be eligible anymore?
So you did it?
I did it. If there was an equivalent of someone dragging me physically to the hospital, it was him.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy. He made me speak with the head of transplant, the head physician at the time, and we were on a conference call. We went through the whole thing.
Yes.
He's like, listen, it's just mind over matter right now.
We don't mind and you don't matter. We have to do this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Just bring yourself. And his caveat was, come to the hospital. We will all meet. We'll have a meeting, nice meeting. Then you decide. There's no one can force you to get it done, right? I go to the hospital. I'm waiting for the guy, doing of the financial approvals and stuff. I get my room. I see Dr. Fadi, who's the head physician, who I spoke with on the phone. And there's a guy I'm meeting for the first time. And I'm like, where's Dr. Hani? And he's like, he's not coming. What do you mean he's not coming? He promised me. And he's like, yeah, but he's not.
He's not coming.
He's not coming. He didn't take my calls. He didn't.
So you couldn't back out of it.
He just ghosted me. That
good
evening.
So you stayed. You got admitted. You stayed.
Yeah, I stayed. My only question to Dr. Fadi was that my trepidation at that time was losing agency over myself. I did not want to lose my autonomy. I wanted to keep control over my body. I have seen and heard instances of patients going through stuff in their lives where, life-changing surgeries and then they're dependent on other people to go about things. And that's something that...
And he assured you it wouldn't happen?
I told him that, look, I have come walking in of my own accord. I want to go back the same way. Can you promise me that? And he told me, trust me, we are more scared about this fact than you are. So we're going to do everything within our power to make sure you go out better than what you've.
Because we don't want this crazy woman here anymore who's turning down lungs, perfectly good lungs. And how long was the operation for?
Almost, I think, 12 hours, 10 hours or 12 hours.
Damn. And you're in hospital for how long afterwards?
I was there for, I think, 19 days.
And when you woke up, what was your first thought?
Someone give me water. I am dying of thirst.
Okay. But you had a tube.
So I was tubed. I was supposed to wake up 2 days later. I woke up the day after my transplant.
Pain.
No, I just woke up smiling, apparently.
Okay.
And the nurse had come running in asking my mom. My mom was in the room that time. And she came running and asking, did she wake up and smile? And
or did you wake us up?
Yes. Usually, they have two options. When a patient wakes up before time, they can either put you back to sleep or they can wake you up completely, depending on your vitals.
Did they put you back?
No, they woke me up.
Oh, okay.
Because the doctors are like, if she's woken up on her own accord, means she's okay.
Okay.
And they knew by now how I was.
Oh, yeah. They're not going to go.
They were like, okay, let her wake up.
Okay. So 19 days you're there. How long did you have the tube in for?
The tube was removed when I woke up.
Okay.
I was on oxygen for 2 days, and the third day I was on room air. But the fourth day I was doing 5 rounds. No, actually I started walking the second day itself.
Okay.
And by the fourth or fifth day, I was doing at least 10 rounds of the ICU.
Amazing.
I was then moved on to the regular floor. And I think I have record of this, I'll show you. Before I left the hospital, before I was discharged, I was walking 20 kilometers a day in the hospital.
20 kilometers?
Yes.
Within 19 days?
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
It is. Also because I was hooked up on a lot of stuff.
The happy pills.
Happy pills. They were pretty boastful.
How do you see life now?
I feel there's a lot to do.
Okay.
With very little time.
Okay.
Very little time because no matter how long I may live, it's not enough. There's a lot to be spoken of about organ transplant in general, about the lack of information on pulmonary hypertension in general. This condition is not something that is to be taken lightly. It can be fatal. I have seen people go. I've got close to people and I've seen them go. And I'm very aware of the unfairness of how this condition works.
Okay.
It's brutal. It is cruel. It doesn't give any quarters to anyone. We need more doctors like Dr. Hani.
Sure.
We need more doctors who don't clock out, when the shift is up.
Who know what to look for.
Yep. Who know what to look for and who can keep pushing for better technology. On both fronts, on transplant as well as PH, we need better tech. We are now, I think, at some point where we can't be using the same primitive methods that we've been using for so many years. Transplant medication is not easy. Managing a transplant is almost as good as a full-time job. We do gloss over a lot of things when it comes to post-transplant life because there's also, and I spoke about this when I was at the World Transplant Games in August. We do place people on a mental post-transplant. There's somewhere an expectation to see exceptional performance from someone once they are on the other side.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere that does put pressure on some people to not be vocal about challenges that one faces. And it's important to speak about it. It's important to speak about these challenges because that's what will push for better research and better tech in managing this. See, the whole point of a transplant is that you live a better quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And you live a better, you're there. You're able to do things that was not allowed to you before that.
Yeah.
for me, it was being there for my son, running with him. Running was something I was never able to do.
Yeah.
I still cannot do it.
But you're building up to it.
Sorry?
But you're walking 20 kilometers a day?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a bronze medal.
What did you compete in? Which event? Huh?
In a sport called petanque.
What's that?
It is it's a fun game.
Okay.
It's a cross between cricket and golf and bowling.
Okay.
If I can say so.
Bronze medal.
Yeah. And the reason I picked petanque as one of the sports to play for this is because my first trip outside of Dubai after the transplant was to Denmark, where my brother lives now.
Okay.
And when I went there, I used to see these families in parks
playing this
all
game.
the time, playing this game.
Perfect.
And I'm like, okay, I've never got this time with Adam over the last few years because of this condition, and it has crippled me, and I want to be there. And the moment I saw this listed, I'm like, I'm doing this.
It's amazing. I love that. I love what you've told us. It's phenomenal. Your journey has been very tough, but you've made it. And
I did.
That's amazing.
I did. I do hope that more like me make it out to the other side.
I hope this people see this, hear this with the help of Dr. Hani, with the new technology that they do. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
I do hope farmers that someday pull up their socks and figure that they're taking money from the wrong people. There's a lot of abundance out there. It's not that there isn't. It's just that it's not streamlined to the causes.
The right places.
Yeah.
I'm so happy because I didn't know any of this when you were going through it. You didn't, like I said, you didn't raise a flag and wallow in pity. You went around. You were always happy and positive. With your back. I didn't know of the medicines, so that's just a testament to your character. I'm so impressed with what you've done, and I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the story. Thank you, Husena.
Thank you.
Okay, and we'll put any information we can when we post it about the disease, so we can inform as many people as possible.
Absolutely, thank you. That will help us go along. Thank you so much, Amin.
Thank you.